everyone, and welcome to today's General Hospital recap. I'm in place of Carly because she went on vacation, and if you check out in the back, I have a little friend who's keeping me company, and on this side I have two little friends, but that one's live. Okay, so remember to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the excitement in Port Charles, and I will just jump right into today's show because it was exciting. So at first we're at the hospital, and Dr. Finn is questioning Franco, and Franco's telling him that Elizabeth had something on Hayden and that it would send Hayden to prison for a really long time. Franco mentions that Elizabeth had evidence that she was going to turn in and kind of says it was the diamonds. So Hayden's not happy about that. She's telling him just to ignore him. So anyway, Finn then talks to Hayden after Franco walks away. I think the doctor came to get him. And she's trying to tell him not to believe anything that Franco said. Finn's apologizing for being mean to her, and he doesn't want her to leave town. She tells him that she's in some big trouble, and he says that they should go somewhere to talk. Oh, I guess my little friend is leaving. Well, it was fun for the few minutes it lasted. So then Hayden is telling him that she had the diamonds, that she had the diamonds, and now Elizabeth has them, and she's going to send her to prison. And Dr. Finn is putting this together and feels that she might have had reason to, let me just shift here, hurt my back a little bit. She might have had reason to push Elizabeth down the stairs, and she's horrified that he would even think that she would be capable of that. Really, Hayden? Because you're capable of a lot of stuff. So also we have now Dr. Monroe is telling Franco about Elizabeth's medical condition. Really? Because I don't think that Franco is an interested party in this. He says, oh, I am not technically a relative. Technically a relative. Oh, excuse me there. I just have to shift. Technically a relative. He's not a relative at all. And Dr. Monroe's going into detail about, well, it's not a head or spinal injury. She's not out of the woods yet. So this hospital has, I guess, no rules. At the floating rib, Alexis gets a text that Diane isn't going to make it. And she's sitting there drinking. And then all of a sudden, Julian's behind her. And she gets frantic, and she's asking him how he got out. And she's texting, and then he's grabbing her arm, and then all of a sudden it's Tracy there, not Julian. And Tracy's asking Alexis, what happened? And Alexis is trying to explain to her that Julian was there and that she's just having this walking nightmare. And Tracy's worried about her. And she, asked her about the fight with Christina, which is all over TMI. And she's trying to give Alexis a pep talk. And Alexis is just really, she's listening, but she's admitting that she is becoming emotionally unstable. So I would think that maybe you don't want to be drinking out in public if you're thinking that you're starting to lose it. And they talk about Scott Baldwin and that, not to give him too much credit because he always messes stuff up. But Tracy does say that even though, her ex, Paul, she doesn't have, good things to say about him usually, but he's a very good attorney, and he's hell-bent on winning this case. Then we see Ava realizing that Paul's the hospital killer. She's in his hotel room, and she found the syringes, and she's going through this thought process. The same I think we all are, why would he be doing this? What's in it for him? And who the hell is Paul anyway? So, unfortunately, she has no one to answer, whereas we can ask each other and come up with some answers. So Monica's in the doctor's locker room, and she's on the phone talking to Charlie, asking for an update. And we see Paul behind her, and he's got the syringe in his hands. he's got gloves on, and he gets closer, and then all of a sudden his phone rings, and it turns out that Ava texted him, "Thank you, Ava, for saving Monica's life. You don't realize it yet, but you've saved Monica's life." So because Monica turns around when she hears the phone ring, and Paul apologizes for scaring her, and he says he got carried away by playing detective, but she thanks him for working so hard to solve the case. That's so ironic because he is the case. So then she leaves, and he throws the syringe away with his gloves. So wonder who's gonna find them. So Ava actually is reaching out to him so they can meet at Perks, so she can tell him what she found in his hotel room. And let me tell you, when she says to him that she was in his hotel room, he is not very happy. And when she shows him the syringes, he tells her that he has a prescription. Well, before we get to that, first they talk about the cufflinks, and he's like, well, no one could ever prove that I had the cufflinks. And she says, well, it's on the sex tape that you can see that you're putting on the cufflinks. And he's like, well, that grainy tape and that, oh, let me see, I wrote this down because it was really good the way he said it. That grainy tape and the cufflink may or may not look like something that may or may not belong to an alleged killer, and color me terrified. So my question is, oh, I think there's someone behind me. What color is terrified? I have a couple of thoughts on that. So then she's asking him, why would you do this? And oh no, actually before that, he's saying, why would she think it's him? And does she think that it's his hobby? Well, yeah, we kind of think that being a serial killer is your hobby, Paul, because we really can't think any other reason that you would be killing innocent people in the hospital. So then she shows him the syringes. Wow. Okay, so he says he had a prescription for them, and she's like, you don't get a prescription for something like this. These are either used in surgery or for killing people. She seems to know a lot about drugs. So then, let's see. Dr. Finn and Hayden are talking about the diamonds, and Hayden really doesn't want Dr. Finn to think that she killed Elizabeth. Or tried to kill Elizabeth. She says, yes, I wanted to shut her up but not kill her, but she was going to blackmail her. And Dr. Finn is like, why? What were you blackmailing her with? And she tells him about Nicholas trying to have her killed, and he's so confused because she wasn't married to Nicholas when she got shot, and then they did get married, so he doesn't really understand. So she really wants him to believe her. And then Jordan walks in, and she asks Hayden why Elizabeth wanted to talk to her, wanted to know what she did before seeing Elizabeth in the stairwell, and Dr. Finn said, oh, Hayden was with me. So now in Elizabeth's room, Franco's with her, because when she was being wheeled into her room, he wanted to go with her, and Dr. Monroe said, well, give it a few minutes before you go. And he's like, well, I want to be there because the first thing she's going to do when she wakes up is ask about her kids. And sure enough, when Elizabeth regained consciousness, because Franco was telling her something about toast, that there's more to life than toast. So she comes to, and she asks what happened and how are her kids. He tells her all about the kids, that they're okay, fills her in on where they are, and he's questioning her about what happened, and she tells him about the fight with Hayden, and he tells her that he found her in the stairwell and that Hayden was standing over her doing nothing. And that's not really a good thing for him to put into her head at this point. So now we're back at the floating rib, and Alexis is asking Tracy why she's there, and Tracy said, well, she was going to meet Dylan because she had this disastrous luncheon with Dylan and his father, and she just wanted, Dylan said, let's just go out and have a drink, but he was called away, and then she saw Alexis talking to herself, so she stepped in, which was a good thing, because there's too many people with cameras, and Alexis is already all over TMI. We don't want this to get any worse. So Tracy's giving her a pep talk. She's telling her that testifying against Julian is the first step. Then she gets a phone call. She has to walk away, and lo and behold, Julian is behind behind Alexis, and he's talking to her again. Well, that's not good, because then Alexis stands up and she's, yelling at him, and then Tracy comes back. So that's really a good thing. So then it seems that, I'm sorry, I'm all over the place. I have to get better at the note taking. Back to Paul and Ava. Ava's gonna blackmail him with the syringes, because maybe she won't tell Jordan, and he says, well, if you think that I'm, gonna give you the flash drive, you have another thing coming. And she's like, oh, I know you made copies of them. I want you to let Julian go. Oh, that's not a good thing. Can you imagine if Julian gets off? So, back at the hospital, Monica's telling Jordan that someone tampered with the power, but the DA was already there. Jordan didn't know why Paul was there. She was coming to talk to Elizabeth. She didn't know that Elizabeth got hurt. She asked Monica where Elizabeth is, and Monica fills her in on Elizabeth falling down the stairs and says it could have been because of the power outage. And Franco tells Jordan that Hayden was standing over Elizabeth doing nothing, and that Hayden hates Elizabeth. Way to go, Franco. So Elizabeth has now really been convinced by Franco that Hayden is the one who pushed her, because she's telling Franco how she felt hands on her back. Oops, I think somebody just knocked over some dishes. So that's not a good thing. And Griffin's in the doctor's locker room, and he finds a syringe in the garbage. He tells Monica about the syringe, and he sent it for testing. And we find out that it was the killer drug. The other thing they should have had tested was the gloves, because I know that you can get fingerprints from the inside of gloves, and I think they should know that too. So now I have some questions. Don't you think Franco should have notified someone when Elizabeth regained consciousness? After all, it's not his place to question her about what happened, but he's playing detective, and he's telling her how everybody's pulling for her, and even Dr. Quartermain likes her, and Dr. Quartermain doesn't like anyone, and it's just not a good thing. So Paul is, now we know, is the hospital killer. Why? Why is he the hospital killer? We don't know yet. Alexis is falling apart. She has to pull herself together. There's a trial coming up. But now Julian might be getting off because Ava found the syringes. Elizabeth thinks Hayden pushed her down the stairs. And she knows that Dr. Finn saw Hayden slap her. But Dr. Finn told Jordan that he was with Hayden. So before Elizabeth fell. Oh, this is just such a mess. But we're going to find out more tomorrow. And I'm so glad you joined me today. Thank you so much. Oh, we have another visitor. Let's see who our visitor is. Oh, let's see. All right, here's our visitor. Say hi, this is Justice. This is Justice. He's the biggest cat and so friendly. He's just a sweetheart. He's a gentle giant. So also, I have a trivia question. The question is, what holiday was Maxie born on? I know Maxie wasn't in today's show, but that's the question I had ready. So if you can answer in the comments below, and then tomorrow I'll let you know the answer, and I'll give you a new trivia question. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you have a wonderful day. And please, please join me tomorrow. And hi to Carly. I hope you're having a great time. Bye, everybody. Bye. And Justice says, bye, everybody.